about movement of nutrients in soil and their uptake by plant roots. So this is actually quite complicated topic, and there are many theories, many views, and also there are a lot of variability in the plant species. We have several plant species, some are lower plants, some are higher plants, and lot of variability is there in nutrient uptake. So some plants take up nutrient by root hair, some plants take up nutrient by some other parts of the root. And it involves two, three major steps in the movement and uptake of nutrients. Movement means the nutrient should reach the plant roots, or plant root should access the nutrients. One is that plant root can directly access the nutrient. It can directly reach the nutrients. This is one approach by the root. Other approach could be that root will try to change the chemical conditions in the soil in such a way that it mobilizes nutrients. Okay, I am hungry, I need nutrient, I must do something. So root will try to change this soil chemical properties, or some it will try to make some changes in the soil. Either it will help soil to dissolve the nutrient, let us take out the nutrients, or it can also solubilize the nutrients, or it can directly catch the nutrients. So there are ways. And first of all, the nutrients should reach the root surface of the root. And after reaching to the surface of the root, then they should be taken up by the root. So how they move from different soil part to the plant root, that is one subject. Other subject is when they touch the root, when the nutrients or iron touch the root, then how they enter into it. First subject is how to break the ice, how to break the epidermis, how to go into the root. And second is how to go into the cell. And third is how to go from one cell to another cell and ultimately reach the xylem. So this is practically radial movement of nutrients. Radial means in the radius. First it is entering and it want to reach to the xylem, and afterwards it will go with water in the xylem. That is other story, but here uptake means just making when the nutrients are reaching into the xylem or up to the xylem, that is your uptake. Or partly you can say when the nutrients enter into the cell, and when they enter into the cells and move from one cell to another cell, nutrient uptake is over. And they can be rightly utilized in the same cells where they enter. If they are in excess, they will go to another cells and it will pass from one cell to another cell and then to xylem. From xylem, they will be distributed in the plant system. So this is basically uptake of nutrient, and there are many theories, many ways, many aspects. So a lot of confusion is there in this subject. It is very exhaustive subject, but I try to make the important points out of it so that we can understand at least some basic aspects of nutrient uptake. So some terminology, this active transport. We will see what is active transport. It is movement of molecules or ions, because some molecules also enter into the plant. Maybe boric acid, maybe some other acids, some organic molecules also enter. Or ions across a membrane from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration. So when it is moving from region of lower concentration to higher concentration, this is known as movement against the gradient. It is known as against the gradient, against the concentration gradient. And it requires the energy. This active transport requires the energy. This transport is from one cell to another cell. Apoplastic movement. Apoplast is the space outside the plasma lemma, or between plasma lemma and cell wall. You have some space, that is apoplast, which within which materials can diffuse freely. Diffuse means here the matter can come by diffusion also from outside. From outside means from the root surface, the material can diffuse into the apoplast. So it is slowed down by a Casparian strip in roots. So if you remember structure of the root or cross section of the root, you have different kind of cells. like your cuticle, epidermis, hypodermis, endodermis, cortex. I just forgot all these. You can see the cross section of a root. Then you will find such structures. Now, uh, nutrient carriers. Nutrient carriers is a kind of theory that there are certain carriers which takes nutrient from one place to another place. So a theory explaining the transport of nutrients from the surface of root. So see, from the surface of root into the root cells, occurring by means of carriers. They use certain carriers. Carriers may be organic materials. So these organic materials help in carrying the nutrients from the root surface into the cell. Next is nutrient uptake. Nutrient uptake is process of ingesting. Ingesting means taking inside. Process of ingesting nutrients by plant roots, or it is the transfer of the nutrient ions across the soil root interfaces into the plant cells. This is when the nutrient is settled in the cell or root cell, uptake is complete. Now, plasma membrane, you must have seen the structure of the plant cell, and you see outside is cell wall, plasma membrane, and cytoplasm, and then you have cell organelles in which you also have vacuoles. So plasma membrane is microscopic membrane made up of lipids and proteins, forming external boundary of the cytoplasm of a cell or enclosure of a vacuole also. Then plasmodesma. Plasmodesma are microscopic channels on the cell walls of plants cells and helping the movement in and needful communication between the plant cells. So from one cell to another cell, it is a passage. It is a passage in the cell wall. Symplastic movement. Symplastic, the diffusion of water or low molecular weight solutes or ions in the inner side of the plasma membrane is called as symplastic movement. Now, nutrient supplying power of the soils, it is very simple. It is the capacity of the soil to supply nutrients to growing plants from the labile, exchangeable, and the moderately available forms. So you know where from these nutrients come in the soil. Diffusion coefficient. It is the proportionality constant that indicates the ability of a material to allow gases and ions to flow under a partial pressure or concentration gradient. So it is just kind of coefficient. It is a relative value that explains the efficiency of diffusion. Labile means a substance that is readily transformed or used by microbes. Labile. Nutrient concentration or content already discussed in some class. Nutrient efficient plant. A plant that absorbs, translocate, or utilize more of a specific nutrient than another plant under conditions of relatively low nutrient availability in the soil. So this nutrient use efficient plant have been described in different ways. One is related to absorption. If a plant is able to absorb a particular nutrient more than others, or that too under stress condition, under low availability of that nutrient, then plant variety or strain is called as plant nutrient use efficient. Now, movement of nutrients from soil to roots. So first of all, nutrients should reach to the plant roots. So these nutrients reach to the plant root from the soil solution. So sometimes roots may be in the soil solution. If roots are there in the soil solution, they can take up nutrients directly. If roots are there near the exchange sites, in case if it is not available from the soil solution, they can take nutrient from the exchangeable sites also. And this other way is that from the soil solution, the nutrient will move towards the root or nutrients will reach the roots. So there are two ways. One is by mass flow, other is by diffusion. So movement of nutrients here, nutrients move by three mechanisms to plant roots. In one, root interception means just root is there and it is accessing or it is in the close vicinity of the nutrient. Then it will intercept the nutrient. Other is by mass flow and third one is by diffusion. You see in this picture how this is happening. In mass flow, the ions or molecules are traveling, are moving in mass, in large number along the water gradient. Means along the water gradient. Means when water moves, they move along with the water and they reach the plant root. So this is mass flow. Means from soil solution, they start their journey and they reach in large number to the plant root surface or near the plant roots. So this is your mass flow. Other is diffusion. Diffusion means movement from higher concentration to lower concentration. So in this case, if you have, they do not, this diffusion does not require water. They will move by concentration, from higher concentration to lower concentration. So this way also, some nutrient reach the plant roots. Now, root interception, let us have idea about root interception, exchange of ion through physical contact between root and mineral surfaces. So this is your root interception, and it is enhanced by increased root biomass and proliferation, means root interception. If you have more finer roots, more longer roots, larger biomass of roots, then your root interception will be more. Because that way it can explore more soil. When the plant roots are able to explore more soil, then root interception could be a mechanism of uptake of ion. Not uptake, it is receiving the ion, root interception. Then roots extend to soil solution. They can go to soil solution. Roots can go to soil surface to access nutrients. Means they can go to exchangeable sites. They can directly attack the clay particles which are holding the ions. Or it can go to humus colloids, reach the humus colloid in soil where nutrients are there. So it can directly receive or intercept the nutrients there. Hydrogen ion adsorbed on surface of root hairs exchange with ions held on the clay and organic matter surface. So you know this is quite common there. Hydrogen ions are adsorbed on the surface of root hairs. They can exchange for positively charged ions from the clay complex or from the humus. Ions held by electrostatic forces. This point is very important. Ions held by electrostatic forces at these sites oscillate within a certain volume. When the oscillation volume of two ions, say hydrogen and potassium, they want to exchange, overlap ion exchange occurs. Calcium ion on clay surface could be absorbed by the root. Roots usually occupy 1 to 3% of the soil volume. Very small volume of the soil is occupied by the roots. Now you see this table, if you can see this table, this is by Havlin book. You have this book, Significance of Root Interception, Mass Flow and Diffusion in Ion Transport to Corn Roots. In the first column, you have the list of the nutrient. And you see the last three columns. The first column is you get nitrogen. So nitrogen, 99% nitrogen in maize plant is received as mass flow in this case, and zero is by diffusion. And phosphorus, this is phosphorus. For phosphorus, you see it is mostly diffusion. So these are the mechanism by which plant receive different nutrients. And this potassium largely moves by diffusion and also by mass flow. Calcium mostly by mass flow and root interception. And you can go through it. And calcium, magnesium, there is zero diffusion. They cannot diffuse. Calcium and magnesium cannot diffuse. So under diffusion heading, if you see 0, 0, 0, means there is zero diffusion and there may be some other mechanism. So you can study this list. And next important point is that the root size can be enhanced by microbial or mycorrhizal infections. So these mycorrhiza help to increase the absorptive area of plant roots. So enhanced mycorrhiza, more benefits it gives to the plant, particularly in infertile soil. In soils where you have less phosphorus in soil, under those conditions, mycorrhiza could be very useful. So mycorrhizal colonization enhances slightly acidic soil. As you know that fungus or fungi normally prefer acidic environment and bacteria prefer normally alkaline environment. So, they are good when you have slightly acidic soil or low pH or low phosphorus, but adequate nitrogen supply and low soil temperature. So there may be some range of soil temperature under which these mycorrhiza work better. The hyphal thread you understand, mycelium piece of thread, mycelium is your thread. Hyphal thread act as extension of plant root. So they are just like extension of plant root, and they are much finer. They are much finer than the root hairs and greater soil contact. So more soil contact will be there, and they help. You see in the picture, if they are growing on the root, they increase the absorption area of the plant roots. Two groups of mycorrhiza are there. One is ectomycorrhiza, other is endomycorrhiza. Ectomycorrhiza are quite common with the tree species, large tree species in temperate climates. And also in semi-arid zones, they are there, but they are not so common. And the other is endomycorrhiza, which are very, very common. And they are found in all crops, almost all the crops, cultivated plants. So roots of most agronomic crops have arbuscular mycorrhiza, AM fungi. And the word vesicular arbuscular mycorrhiza, VAM, is no more in existence. This has been deleted from the science. So instead of VAM, now people call AM fungi. It grows into the cortex. It grows into the cortex, but it also enters the plant cells. It goes into the plant cell, inside the plant cell. Ectomycorrhiza does not go into the plant cell. It is there in the intercellular spaces, but it will never enter into the plant cell. Endomycorrhiza enters into the plant cell. Uh, Inside the plant cells, small structures, arbuscules. Arbuscules are formed, which is nutrients and carbohydrates. The host plant will give carbohydrate, and in return, they will give phosphorus and other nutrients. It is not just phosphorus. This mycorrhiza also help in the uptake of other nutrients also. And in one of the course, I have told you that these mycorrhiza help in the transfer of nitrogen from one plant to another plant also. So they are very useful now. Now their roles are getting increased, or people are learning day by day roles played by mycorrhiza. So AM fungi, what they are doing, they give larger nutrient absorbing surface area by fungi, and it can be up to 10 times that of uninfected roots. Uninfected roots. So you see how much advantage is there. 10 times more root surface area for absorption than where you do not have mycorrhiza. So fungal hyphae can extend up to 8 centimeter into the soil. And interesting fact is that it can enter into the soil areas which are not accessed by the root. So root hairs or other parts of the root are slightly thick. They are not able to enter it. They are not able to grow into very minute areas of the soil. So in those cases, fungal hyphae can enter, thus increasing the absorption of nutrients. Enhanced phosphorus uptake is the primary cause of improved plant growth. But they also absorb zinc, they also absorb other nutrients, potassium. So you can see here effect of inoculation of endomycorrhiza and phosphorus on nutrient content in corn shoots. So you try to understand the meaning of this table. So it tells you that mycorrhiza was applied when there was insufficient phosphorus in the soil, and also when there was sufficient phosphorus in the soil. Sufficient by applying it from outside. So you can see the first case is nutrient, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, zinc, copper, etc. Now, no phosphorus application. So no phosphorus application, one case is there is no mycorrhiza, other case is mycorrhiza. So if you have no mycorrhiza, then it was 750 microgram of phosphorus uptake on nutrient content in corn shoots. So concentration was 750 microgram. And if there were mycorrhiza in the soil, then phosphorus concentration was almost doubled. You see 1340. See the next case. Next case is 25 ppm phosphorus was added. But in the first case, there was no mycorrhiza. Here it is about 3000. 3000 microgram is the concentration. And on the other side, it is 6000. Just I round off 5910. So it is 6000. So here it is again in both the cases, it is almost doubled. Whether your soil was having phosphorus, sufficient phosphorus, or whether it was added from outside. So in this case, your crop benefited by applying mycorrhiza under phosphorus application as well as without application of phosphorus. See the case of potassium. From 6,000, it has become 9,700 under no P application. And then when P was applied from 1,700 to 17,000 to 19,000. So you can go through it and you will find that in either case, it is increasing the concentration of nutrients in the plant tissues. So now, after the interception, root interception, the another mechanism plant surface or root surface gets the nutrient is by mass flow. So mass flow, ions of soil solution are transported to root as a result of water uptake. Actually, water uptake is there. So when water goes from one place to another place in the soil, it carries some nutrients from soil solution to the plant roots. But when the transpiration happens, evaporation happens, there may be shortage of the water. So then water will come from another places, from another areas of the soil. So that way the nutrient will move from soil solution to the plant root. So ions of soil solution are transported to root as a result of water uptake, transpiration. So it is just a kind of continuum. By plant, evaporation on the soil surface and percolation of water in soil surface. Because when you apply water, it is applied on the surface, and when it goes down, so that way also percolation also moves some nutrients to the roots. So it may be downward or it may be upward movement of the water. Important factor in supplying nutrients to plant, mass flow, and the quantity of nutrients reaching roots is determined by the rate of water flow or water consumption. So the flow will depend upon the rate of water flow or water consumption and average nutrient concentration in the soil water. If you have more concentration of nutrients, there will be more movement. If you have more water, more movement. Less water, less movement by mass flow. Now, it can supply an excess of calcium by mass flow, magnesium, and some micronutrients and most soluble nutrients like nitrate, chloride, and sulfate. They move by mass flow. As soil moisture is reduced, water transport to the root surface decreases, and so is your mass flow. And also temperature. This temperature also affect the mass flow. So because of low temperature, the transpiration will decrease and the demand of water will also decrease. So that way, your movement of water will be less in the soil when there is no requirement of water for transpiration or for evaporation. So lower the temperature, low is the mass flow. Increase in temperature will increase the mass flow. Now, next is your diffusion. The nutrients reach plant roots by diffusion also. So iron moves from an area of high concentration to one of low concentration. So this kind of movement is along the concentration gradient. If it is other way around, low concentration to high concentration, then it is against the gradient. So root absorb nutrients from surrounding soil solution. The nutrient concentration at root surface decreases compared with the bulk soil solution concentration. It is very simple. The nutrient concentration gradient is established that causes iron to diffuse towards the root. Because the nutrients which are near the plant roots, they will be taken up by the plant, and then there will be less concentration of that nutrient. And on the other hand, you have higher concentration in soil solution. So nutrient will move from that soil solution to the plant roots. So this is along the gradient, which is diffusion of the nutrient. And then most of the phosphorus and potassium move to the root by diffusion. Now, this is some diffusion, rate of diffusion is determined by the certain law. So diffusion occurs based on fixed law, which is given by the equation F is equal to minus D dC by dx. So where F is the diffusion rate, means quantity diffused per unit cross section per unit time. So this is the rate of diffusion, and dC by dx is concentration gradient, and C is concentration, and D is diffusion gradient, and X is distance. So you can see this formula where it can be used. I do not know much details of this formula and where it can be used, but such things are there. Diffusion to calculate the rate of diffusion. Ion uptake by roots, it create or maintain the diffusion gradient. It is strongly influenced by the temperature, this diffusion. Like your mass flow. Mass flow is also influenced by the temperature. Similarly, diffusion is also influenced by the temperature. With the range of about 10 to 30, an increase of 10 degrees centigrade usually causes the rate of ion absorption go up by a factor of 2 or more. So you can see if you increase temperature from 10 to 20 or 20 to 30, so it will be 2 times or more. The rate of ion absorption to go up by a factor of 2 or more. Now, diffusion is slow under most soil conditions. The rate of nutrients reaching the root by diffusion is generally slow under most soil conditions, and occur over very short distances, So typical diffusion distances are 1 centimeter for nitrogen, means nitrogen can move at the most 1 centimeter by diffusion, 0.2 centimeter for potassium, and 0.02 centimeter for phosphorus. So roots do not absorb all nutrients at the same rate, causing certain ions to accumulate at root surface. So you can see some ions will reach the plant roots, but they will not be taken in. They will remain there. So that way, some reverse kind of concentration gradient will be created. Now you will have more nutrient concentration on the root surface than in the soil solution. So this will the reverse diffusion can also occur. Then the ions will move from the root surface into the soil solution. So this is also possible. Thus, it results in back diffusion or reverse diffusion, you can say. Back diffusion, where the concentration gradient is away from root surface and back towards the bulk of soils. Nutrient diffusion away from root is much less common than diffusion toward the root. So, of course, back diffusion is not very common, but it can occur. Importance of diffusion and mass flow is in supplying ions to root surface depend on ability of solid phase of soil to replenish or buffer the soil solution. So it is also important if your soil solution, some nutrients are removed by mass flow or by diffusion, then those nutrients should be compensated from outside. They should enter, they should buffer the soil solution. So how fast it is buffered, it will decide the movement of nutrient by mass flow or by diffusion. Ion concentration influenced by the types of clay minerals in soil and distribution of cation anions on the cation exchange capacity and anion exchange capacity. The ease of replacement of calcium from colloids varies in this order: peat, and then kaolinite, and followed by illite and montmorillonite. From montmorillonite, it is difficult to replace the calcium. And 80% calcium saturated 2:1 type of clay provides the same percentage of calcium release as 35% calcium saturated kaolinite or a 25% calcium saturated peat. So you can see there is ease of removal of calcium with peat or kaolinite. Now, this is very important slide. You can put your attention. This is factors affecting nutrient supply to roots. How these you have seen nutrient supply was done by three mechanisms: root interception, your mass flow, and diffusion. By these three methods, nutrients were supplied to the roots. And now, what are the factors that affect this supply? So, number one is root development. Root is very, very important. You have seen root interception, root length, root distribution, root morphology, diameter, and hairs. Finer the roots, longer the roots, deeper the roots, more spread of roots. It will increase the accessibility of the nutrients by roots. Nutrient uptake, concentration at the root surface. How much is the concentration at root surface? Kinetics of uptake. Kinetics of uptake varies with the species and variety. Transport from soil to root. It is by mass flow or diffusion. So they are affected by transpiration, concentration of soil solution, and concentration of gradient. Next is mobilization. Mobilization is collection of ions or molecules by the roots. So roots are doing something to get the nutrients on its surface. So mobilization, roots are doing mobilization of nutrients or collecting them or attracting them. So it is possible by desorption, means they will encourage the desorption of ions from the humus or from the clay colloids, from the colloids. And then dissolution. Dissolution means dissolve. They will try to dissolve the fixed nutrients. If some fixed nutrient is there, like apatite is there, and you have phosphorus efficient plant, so it will release phosphatase or some other enzymes or some chemicals that will solubilize the fixed phosphorus, apatite or tricalcium phosphate. So you have some dissolution. Dissolution means to dissolve. To bring into solution is known as dissolution. So dissolution or solution almost same. So dissolution to dissolve, and then hydrolysis of organic compounds. Plant is doing. So how it is doing? Depletion of soil solution is the factor. Root exudates are released, and reducing agents are also released by the plants. Chelates are released for iron uptake. Organic anions, chemical soil composition is changed by plant roots, or at least in the rhizosphere they make some changes. pH of the soil solution, because they release hydrogen also, and certain enzymes are also released by the plant. Then mobilization by associated organism, by mycorrhiza infection or bacteria. So overall, these are the factors that affect the nutrient supply to the plant roots. Now, one part is over. Now the nutrients are reaching on the plant roots. They have come to the plant roots by diffusion or by contact exchange or by mass flow. Now they want to make their entry into the plant, so that plant will become happy or plant will get food. These nutrients are the food material of the plant. So once nutrients are at the root surface, they enter the outermost root cells where they are transported through the plant. They must reach the xylem. So ion transport out of the root also occurs and can influence rhizosphere pH. So some ions or some kind of root exudations and some ions are also released from the plant roots into the soil. So thus it is important to understand how ions and water move into the plant roots. Water absorption, you understand what are different theories of water absorption. Similarly, in case of nutrient absorption, we got different theories, and different theories or mechanism work under different conditions. No, it is not possible that all mechanism will happen in one type of plant irrespective of the soil or climatic conditions. So now you can see uptake from soil solution can be described by passive and active processes. Uptake means it is just entry of molecules or ions into the plant. So this is uptake from soil solution can be described by passive and active processes. Ions passively move to a boundary through which ions are actively transported to organs in plant cell. So up to some extent, it can be a passive process, and after that, it can be an active process, Solution composition, ion concentration, outside and inside of the boundary, controlled by different processes, each essential to plant nutrition and growth. Now you see different areas of the roots for nutrient absorption. Many times we understand that nutrients or water is taken up by only by root hairs, but that is not true. There are some other areas of the roots which absorb nutrients. You can see different area of roots for nutrient absorption. So these are some examples given by different people. For example, in barley, calcium is absorption area is root apical region. So there is no hair here. There is no root here. So area of absorption is root apical region. See barley again for iron, root apical region. For corn, iron, it is entire root surface. So you can see the fourth column where area of absorption, just you can remember the area of absorption can be root apical region, entire root surface, or apical regions of the root, axis or branches, etc. And of course, root hair. So you can see here the picture of the root. So all these parts, they are able to absorb the nutrients. It's not just root hairs, other part of the plant root also absorb nutrient, whether it is your area of cell division, area of cell elongation, area of cell differentiation on which you get root hair. So it is like this. Now, nutrient uptake by plant roots. We are continuing with the same topic. So nutrients come in contact with plant roots by root interception, mass flow, and diffusion. So sometimes I put some repeated words to have more clarity. So here again, I say that nutrients come in contact with plant roots by root interception, mass flow, and diffusion. Now they are in the contact of the plant roots. So these nutrients will now enter the plant roots and get transported into the plant cells. Nutrient uptake by plants can be addressed in two parts. One is uptake of nutrients, ions by roots from the rhizosphere. So it is just entry of nutrients into the plants, and then uptake and transport in the plant cells, or movement of nutrients from one cell to another cell. Nutrient and water uptake happens at the root hairs and the rest of the root epidermis. Root epidermis. So root epidermis is there on the whole root. So nutrients can enter through epidermis and also through the root hair. So you can see in this picture, the bottom picture, the lower picture, you see detailed structure. So outside is this is your radial structure of the root or cross section of the root. So you see cuticle is outside, the first layer is cuticle, then epidermis, then hypodermis, then chlorenchyma, vascular bundles are there, and ground tissue, cortex, etc. So you also see in the central part, you got xylem also. So xylem is your metaxylem, protoxylem, whatever it is. So now from the cuticle up to the xylem, the nutrients need to travel. They need to pass through the interspaces, they need to pass through the cells. It is up to the nutrient to move which way it lies, but it has to reach the xylem. So nutrient and water uptake happens at the root hairs and the rest of the root epidermis. Now you see this is classification, or this is just the whole story by Karthika et al. 2018. So you can see nutrient uptake and transport in plant cells. So it includes uptake and transport. So mechanism of nutrient uptake and transport in plant cells. So uptake is your entry and transport is your movement. So in this case, nutrient uptake by roots. So there are two ways. One is apoplast, transmembrane, and symplast pathways. So these are the pathways, or these are the routes or ways of nutrient uptake. Number two, uptake of ions. It is by diffusion or by cation exchange. So both these processes are there, diffusion and cation exchange. Part B is your transport or movement of nutrients or ions into the plant cells. So this is by three different mechanisms. One is passive transport, other is active transport, and third one is membrane transport. So you please remember, a lot of confusion is there. So I tried to found the best option where we can see the clear differences between all these. So you see nutrient uptake by roots. Number two, transport or movement of nutrients or ions into plant cells. So it is by three ways by three different means. It can happen partly by passive transport, partly by active transport, and membrane transport. So three mechanisms for transport or movement of ions from one cell to another cell. So passive transport can be ion exchange theory, Donan effect and equilibrium, and mass flow. So mass flow also happens inside the plant roots. So one mass flow was outside the plant root, where we have seen that nutrients reach the plant root. And when they reach into the plant roots, then they can move by mass flow also. So mass flow is there, which is kind of passive transport. Next is active transport, that is movement or transport. ATP mediated ATPase pumps. So here some energy is involved. ATP is there. Cytochrome pumps are there and phospholipid as carrier. So this is a mechanism of active transport mediated by three different mechanisms: ATP mediated, cytochrome pumps, and phospholipids as carrier. Then comes the membrane transport, number 3. So membrane transport is again by three different mechanisms, by through some channels, through some pumps, through some carriers. So these are actually language of plant physiology or biochemistry, which we need to understand what is channel, what is pump, what is carrier. But under membrane transport, we got three different mechanisms. One is by channels, other is by pumps and carrier. In pumps, we have primary active transport, and also we have secondary active transport. In pumps, two different mechanisms, primary active transport and secondary active transport. And secondary active transport again divided into two. One is symplast and other is antipode. Symplast is your uh, co-transport or counter-transport, co-transport and counter-transport. So this is how we can divide the mechanism of nutrient uptake and transport in plant cells. Now we will see one by one. Now you know the classification. I will just take them in briefly. Apoplast, transmembrane, and symplast pathways. These are pathways of the uptake of nutrients. So there are free intercellular spaces of epidermal and cortical cells. These are called as apoplasts. So these are free spaces, and it facilitates movement of ions or water in root and does not need movement through impermeable membrane. So it is not necessary to pass through the impermeable membrane, which is plasma membrane. So it will be outside the plasma membrane, and within the cell wall. So that kind of movement is apoplastic movement. Casparian strips force water or ions in the apoplastic region to cross the endodermis by passing through the plasma membrane. So these Casparian strips sometimes can help. The cellular connections and plasmodesma help in movement of ions from cell to cell in symplastic movement. So other movement is symplastic movement. That is kind of uptake. We are considering as uptake of the nutrient by symplastic. So here you got plasmodesma connecting one cell to another cell. So now you see this picture, it will make you very clear the apoplastic and symplastic pathways of movement. So you can see outside is the cell wall, and then outside the cell wall you got cell membrane, and in between cell membrane and cell wall you got some spaces. And they are also connected from one cell to another cell. So these are apoplastic spaces or apoplastic movement. And then symplastic is happening from cell to cell. And you see the two lines are there. One is dark color line in the two cells. So one is apoplast pathway through cell, and other is symplast pathway through cytoplasm. Means from one cytoplasm to another cytoplasm is through plasmodesma. And this movement is symplast movement. So hope it should be clear to you, apoplast and symplast movement. And also transmembrane. Another is through transmembrane. Now, uptake of nutrient ions. Nutrient ions move towards plant root by diffusion or cation exchange. Diffusion occur on the basis of concentration gradient. Cation exchange happens in response to the release of hydrogen ion from roots, causing a change in soil pH around the roots or in the rhizospheric area. When water or ion enter plant root, they move through apoplastic, transmembrane, or symplastic pathways. Afterwards, movement of nutrients occur via xylem. Nutrient uptake differs with the area or section of the roots. So I have shown you root structure where you go different regions. One region was root hair, apical meristem, differentiation zone. Different parts were there. So this uptake will vary with the section and also with the kind of nutrient. Now, transport or movement of nutrients or ion into the plant cells. How they enter the plant cell. So plasma membrane and tonoplast are the major barriers for movement of ions, this plasma membrane. So what is this tonoplast? Can anyone tell about tonoplast? What is tonoplast? Yeah, Wahid. What is tonoplast?
Yes, sir. It is a kind of transportation cell.
Membrane,
It
yeah.
transport the
Manju,
nutrients.
okay. Manju, what is tonoplast? Manjunath,
Yes, sir.
what is tonoplast?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the outer membrane of vacuole.
Very good. Very good. So, Wahid, you were very close to the answer, and the right answer is that it is membrane of the tonoplast. Very good, Manju.
Okay,
Thank you.
sir. I have taken.
Yeah, yeah. So, plasma membrane and tonoplast are the major barriers for movement of ions or nutrients and selectively regulate the movement into and outside cell. As you also know that these membranes are also called as semi-permeable membranes. These are called as semi-permeable membranes, means they allow certain substances to pass, but do not allow other substances to pass. So they allow something to cross and something not to cross. The characteristics of these major barriers for movement of ion or nutrients and selectively regulate the movement into and outside the cell. So they allow something into it and also allow something go out. So permeable to oxygen, CO2, as well as certain compounds, semi-permeable to water, selectively permeable to inorganic ions and organic compounds, and nutrients ions can be transported across these barriers actively or passively. This, if you want the nutrient want to enter the plant cell, so it must go through active process or passive process or by both. Now, so transport or movement of nutrients ion into the plant cell. Now we come to the other part. I've shown you all this classification in the first picture. So now we got passive transport, active transport, and membrane transport. There are three different mechanisms of transport from one cell to another cell. So one is ion exchange theory, Donan effect and equilibrium, and then again mass flow is passive transport. Active transport is ATP-mediated ATPase pumps, cytochrome pumps, and phospholipids as carriers, and membrane transport channels, pumps, and carriers. So now we see the passive transport occurs along the concentration gradient. Along means from higher concentration to low concentration. So nutrient diffuse into the cell through the cell membrane if the concentration of a nutrient or ion falls less inside the cell. Energy is required, not required, sorry, energy is not required. Nutrient concentration is maintained for enhancing the nutrient absorption. It happens by three mechanisms. This passive transport without energy happens by three mechanisms: ion exchange theory, Donan effect, and equilibrium, and mass flow. So there may be some overlapping also. This was the only way to get the best classification of mechanism of nutrient transport. So ion exchange theory, Donan effect, and equilibrium, and mass flow. Now ion exchange. Exchange of cations present on the soil clay and protons present on the root surface. So this exchange happens. Proton may be, I think, hydrogen. Carbonic acid in the soil dissociate into protons. and bicarbonate ions, and these protons exchange with cations present on the root surface. Now, Donan effect and equilibrium. This is another mechanism, passive mechanism. Cell membrane has a negative charge that allows anions to enter it because of negative charge on the cell membrane. Plants can accumulate about 30 times the cations passively against the concentration gradient to balance the electrochemical potential difference thus generated. The equilibrium defined by F.G. Donan, the ratio equilibrium, it is the ratio of positively charged ions inside to outside will be equal to the negatively charged ions inside to outside. So you can try yourself what does it mean all. Now mass flow, through mass flow, the materials or ions can be transported through the cell membrane. So it is due to active transpiration. Ions are taken up from the root to shoot system, shoot xylem. This leads to the concentration gradient and a water pressure gradient, which drives the mass flow. Now we go to active transport. So this is again movement of nutrients through plasma membrane. So happen against the concentration gradient. So active transport is against the concentration gradient. This type of movement involves energy. There are three major mechanisms for active absorption. ATP mediated ATPase pumps. So this is one option. Ions are actively absorbed by using energy released by hydrolysis of ATP. And for example, HN ATPase pumps. So this is ATP mediated pumps are there. And then cytochrome pumps. So cytochrome pumps also help in movement of ions. And you can go through this. This is not really very clearly understood to me. You can try to read it and try to understand from any plant physiology book, or maybe those who have courses in plant physiology can understand better. So phospholipids can also act as a carrier. Diacyl glycerides like lecithins. Now membrane transport. So one kind of transport you have seen, which was passive transport, other is active transport, and third one is membrane transport. So this is movement of ions. Membrane transport is mediated by specialized proteins, which are described below. Number one is channel. So these are transmembrane proteins that exist as membrane pores, which selectively permit solutes based on its biochemical and biophysical property. So they can pass through certain channels. The entry of ions is determined by the layer of hydration. Example, aquaporins. Examples are aquaporins. Now next is pumps. So these are transmembrane proteins that transport ions actively by TP hydrolysis. Protons are pumped against electrochemical gradient which build up positive charge due to the protons accumulated. There are two types of active transport that occur, primary and secondary. So here in pumps you have primary active transport and you have secondary active transport. In secondary active transport, symport and antiport are there. So you need to read it yourself because this is definitely not very clear to me. And this is not my subject. I do not know much about it. But as a student, you can consult some standard plant physiology book to have some more idea. Now, at least you got some idea, that how this mechanism happens. So then certain carriers are also there, which help in the transfer of nutrients from one cell to another cell. And then lastly, points to remember, the availability of all essential plant nutrients in soil fluctuates depending on many factors. So availability of nutrients is affected by many factors, no doubt about it. This may vary, resulting in deficiency or toxicity of nutrients. The nutrients from soil move towards the root by following certain mechanism of transport, which include mass flow, diffusion, and root interception. So by these these three mechanisms are clear to us. The nutrients thus reaching the roots are absorbed by plants either actively by spending energy or passively by no involvement of energy. So actually, this knowledge, knowledge of having idea about mass flow or diffusion or root interception. If we get idea of this kind of idea, then it can help us in the management of the nutrients. If we know the mechanism, for example, phosphorus, we have seen it moves very less by diffusion. The length of diffusion or distance of diffusion is very small. So in this case, we can go for placement of phosphorus near the roots. It should be kept near the roots because diffusion rate is very. So that way, this kind of knowledge can help in the management of the nutrients. So this ends this subject. Thank you very much. And now you can ask your questions. So Pulomi, you can stop the recording, please. Hello.